At 10:10 here on Live Impact News, as Hollywood reflects on the loss of Tim Curry, the actor whose unforgettable performance, to name a few, in the Rocky Horror Picture Show lives on. There's a way we can actually pay tribute to the wonderful actor. Ben Klein, who's the program director at the Carolina Theater, joining us here in the Live Impact studio. Ben, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, absolutely.
I want to talk about Curry's legacy and this celebration, of course, that we can do in person next month. When you heard the reaction about his passing, hear the news about his passing, what was your reaction?
Well, it was heartbreaking, of course, also coming in the wake of losing Dolly Parton
right?
the day before. Having, those two icons kind of leave us was really, it was meaningful because of how they impacted our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, because we have a screening of Rocky Horror Picture Show with the full audience participation and everything coming up in October, I just immediately went to how special that's going to be, a tribute to him.
Yeah, totally. What made Tim Curry such a spectacular presence on screen?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, I think what's really interesting about Tim Curry, especially because he's somebody that we all kind of recognize from something. He has all these different iconic performances, whether it be Rocky Horror or Clue or Home Alone 2 or Annie. I mean, he's one of those
you're
actors.
naming some good ones.
Yeah, he's one of those
all
actors that you might know him from this or this or this. But he kept his personal life really private, and I think that allowed him to really escape into all of these outlandish, incredible performances, making big, bold choices, and he was never afraid to be an other or a wild and silly and outlandish person on screen, which was it was really unexpected, especially when he was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you name all those movies and shows, it's like, yeah, I remember his work there too. And to live so privately when his characters are so loud, I think that's a really, what a well-balanced and a choice in living your life. Rocky Horror Picture Show, I mean, when I was in theater decades ago, right, that was always a thing. What about this cult following of this movie makes it just live forever?
Yeah, it is the cult classic at this point. I mean, it was 50 years ago when it came out, and just like all the cult films that we now know, it didn't really find a following until later. It allowed teenagers of that kind of period to kind of be whoever they wanted to be, and it still does that. It's found its way back into the zeitgeist, and I think when it was kind of screening in New York and it became this tradition that there's the audience participation and props and all kinds of things that go on because it came from the theater and then became a film, it now came back to being a theater and a immersive experience, and it is just a fun, wild time. There's nothing like it.
And people love it here in Charlotte. And so you mentioned that you're going to bring it back in October?
Yes, in October 17th. And last year we had a sold-out screening of it. This year we're ramping it up. We have the original Barry Bostwick, that will be joining us. There's a VIP package that you can come and meet him, get a picture with him, autographs, all kinds of fun things, and then also he will be participating with the Shadowcast live performing. It's a 4K restoration of the film, so it will look better than you've ever seen it. And of course, there's the prop bags that we will supply with your ticket. You get to put the newspaper on your head and do all kinds of the fun things throughout it. And if you've never experienced the film or never seen it, that's the way to do it.
Oh, yeah. You got to do the time.
Exactly. Get up and dance. I know. Last year, everybody was on their feet doing the time warp. It was remarkable.
Can you imagine, though, this year, because of his passing, it's going to be just off the chain?
Yeah, exactly. And there's the moment at the end, where most people kind of interpret that Frankenfurter is leaving us.
Right.
So it will be really, really moving in our theater, especially to see that happening. And there's a live actor that is shadow casting while he's doing it on the film. So it'll be awesome.
It's one of those things you just have to experience it for yourself. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
Barry Bostwick's appearance. You mentioned that he's going to be there, and is he going to do Q&A?
He won't do so much of a Q&A, but he'll participate in like the beginning of the show, which there's always a costume contest, and they kind of talk people through what it is. And yes, you can kind of elect to meet him beforehand, get an autograph if you buy that VIP ticket.
All right. Anything else that you want to, reflect on Tim Curry's impact both on stage and on the screen?
Yeah, I have a very quick little story. I actually met him personally. Before I was here at the Carolina Theater, I directed theater in New York City for almost 20 years, and I directed a play called Anne that eventually made it to Broadway. It was with Holland Taylor as the lead and the writer, and in early days of the rehearsals, I was out in LA with her in a little black box theater, and we were rehearsing really just one-on-one, and our stage manager was there. All of a sudden, this man appeared at the back of the theater, and I glanced over my shoulder, and it was Tim Curry himself. He was very close friends with Holland Taylor and had just popped in to say hi and support her because he knew she was creating this show, and he couldn't have been more understated and just happy to support her. He was just like in a wonderful, and then the dichotomy of what he was in person to what you see on screen. I just remember that moment so much and how supportive he was there of his friend, and I think that's who Tim Curry really was.
What a great impression. First impression from the great Tim Curry. All right, so Ben, how do people inquire about getting tickets to the event there at Carolina Theater?
We make it really easy. Our website is thecarolina.com. So
that wasn't taken.
It couldn't be exactly. It couldn't be more simple to find out about Rocky Horror and any of the other programs that we've got going on. We've got a lot of fun things coming up for the fall, and you can sign up for our newsletter there. That's the best way to find out early, because we send out an email to you about what's coming up, and you can even get tickets before the general public if you're our newsletter subscriber.
All right, fantastic. I asked Ben before we came on the air here what his favorite event so far has been. You weren't able to name any.
That's
all so great.
It's like naming your favorite child. I can't do that, but it's really incredible what we've been able to do in our short time since reopening in March 2025, and I just love that we're able to provide a diverse amount of programming, whether it be a concert or something like Rocky Horror or a conversation about a book or a civic gathering. We're kind of able to do everything in our space, and it's really cool.
And if you haven't been to the Carolina Theater yet, you're in for a treat. It really just has some good vibes, those bones, and just classic Hollywood right here in the city of it all, the Queen City.
That's right.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate the conversation as well here.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
thecarolina.com.
Yep.
Easy enough. And we'll be right back here on Live Impact News.